The Acolyte, episode 5. It's called Night. This is the best episode of the show so far, which is a very, very, very low bar. So this is going to be kind of a spoiler / how I felt review, just saying some stuff. Let's talk about what I liked in this episode that I'm claiming is the best one so far. This guy. I like this guy. Jedi Master Soul. He's good. His character's cool and interesting. Cool design. He just looks cool. And the actor does a great job. Another good thing is the bad guy reveal. Even though like everybody knew it was the little shopkeeper guy, like everyone keeps calling him Discount Ezra Miller with like the hair on his face. I actually thought he was kind of formidable and interesting, and had some nice arms. And I've got to admit, I've got to give it some credit. Not all the fighting in this episode was awful. Actually, there was some cool, decent choreography. There was a lot of really, really, really stupid choreography. There was some no Moxie fighting that just looked like crap, but there was some other fighting that did actually borderline / possibly enter into Moxie territory. And by that, I mean people fighting fast and hard and actually like they're in a fight. So there was a few fights where I'm like, okay, this actually is aggressive and seems like a fight and not just a stupid, poorly choreographed high school sword fight that they accepted the first take of. So I think that's it. I think there was a couple cool fights, and Soul is a good actor, and the main bad guy, once we figured out who it was, is interesting / his acting is kind of good, even if all of his lines are awful. Yeah, so that's the good stuff. Oh, the other good stuff is that the violence, some of which was cool, some of which was dumb, resulted in quite a few deaths. I love Transformers the movie, The Transformers the movie from 1986. One thing I like about it, in opposition of the TV show Transformers, is that people die in Transformers the movie. So it makes me really sad because that was like characters I watched. But when they all die, it feels like the story's moving forward and things are happening and there's actual stakes. So whereas in the TV show Transformers, they would fight and then they'd be like, oh, I'll get you next time. And then they'd both go back to their layers, right? So in here, to actually see a whole bunch of Jedis get killed in some interesting ways, interesting and dumb ways, sure, that felt like progress. Also, it's cool. I like me some Jedi violence. There's a couple stupid things with like lightsabers. Like, yeah, let's get into the bad now because there's nothing else good. So the lightsabers, like, they would get damaged and then like spark and then like turn back on, like they half working lightsaber. And then his apprentice, her lightsaber got chopped and it like turned off, but then she was able to turn it back on and it was shorter. Like, that's not how... It's like Han Solo in The Force Awakens. That's not how the Force works. Like, that's... You're assuming... So if a lightsaber is like a stick, you're assuming that like the top third of it just means nothing. The top third of the lightsaber is only to give it its length. So they cut that off and then she turns it on again and it's just shorter. So that's cool. It was cool to see her fight with a long blade and a shorter blade. Like, that's a cool fighting style. And her fighting was actually pretty good. But, I mean, was I wrong? Was I watching it wrong? Is that not what happened? One of the normal length lightsabers got chopped. Then it turned off. Then she turned it back on and it was shorter. Is that what happened? Am I crazy? Because that's bad. That's really dumb. That is like, I know people keep saying like Coyote Mundi, his birthday getting changed, like breaks Star Wars, or the two witches conceiving somebody breaks Star Wars because it's not Anakin, right? This lightsaber thing breaks Star Wars. Like, what is that? Like, so dumb. The bad guy's fighting was a little weird. Like, he kept monologuing, just like super monologuing bad guy. And then he'd like fight someone. Like, he was fighting someone and then chopped their lightsabers down so then they only had one. And then, so he has the advantage. And then he left. And it's like, you have the advantage now, just kill this person. Like, it was a very weird order of events. Okay, I lied. I'm going to say one more thing I liked. In the fighting, there was some cool hand-to-hand fighting. Not between May and Daphne Keene's character, but between Soul and the bad guy, there was some cool hand-to-hand fighting. Got to give them that. There was some clever editing when there was some decapitations. I was like, okay, cool, clever editing, I get it. All right, so the bad guy calls himself a Sith, which in episode 1, he says, there hasn't been a Sith for a millennia or whatever, right? So I get it. Not everyone knew about everything, and maybe that's why in the scene while they were talking about the bad guy, they kept nervously looking over to Coyote Mundi, like, is he looking at us in the last episode? So there was those bug things in a foggy forest, and Yord is taking Osha back to the ship, and I was like, oh, there's going to be a cool bug fight, right? And then it ended up just being nothing really happened. They kind of chased her, and then she takes her droid out of her pocket, and she takes its little head off, and she's like, I love you. And then she puts it on his back, so it's like a flashlight on his back. And then the bugs carry him off, and it's like, just let Jedi Master Soul execute him. This is so dumb. It's so dumb. So surprise, the bad guy survived the weak little like moth roly-poly bugs carrying him into the sky. He survived. Surprise, like, did you want him to survive? Or were you like, this'll definitely kill him. I'm going to tape a flashlight to his back. He is going to die. If you want to make him die, then you make him die. Don't just be like, here, bugs, eat him. Like, first of all, that's kind of horrible and torturous. Like, just execute him. So dumb. The Osha and May acting is so bad. It's so bad. She has like the same facial expression during any situation, and just the dialogue and the body movements. Like, it's bad acting. I feel like I'm watching like a high school play during rehearsal. So while I'm glad that there was deaths in this episode, because I feel like it progressed and the stakes were raised, it came to a natural point that the situation can be resolved. And then they let the bad guy get away, and then the girls switch places, and I felt like they lost the logical flow of the story so that they could have more episodes. That it just started to feel like that. So the bad writing is to lengthen the show's number of episodes. That's what it wasn't. They didn't take a logical conclusion to a situation. They're like, here's some bad writing to just drag it out. Goodness gracious. All right, in summation, this was a bad episode. It was the best episode of a bunch of bad episodes. Let's be clear here. It was sad to see Yord die because he was so beautiful when he had his shirt off, steaming his robe. So when he died, I was like, oh no, Yord's chiseled body. All right, the show's still bad. I don't know why I'm watching it. I told my wife I'm watching it just for reviews, and she's like, I think you kind of want to know what happens. And I think I may have to admit that I do kind of want to know what happens. I want to see what other Star Wars breaking stuff they do. But this show's bad. Episode 5 is the best. Some cool fights. Bad show. Let me know what you think of this. And see you on the next one. Bye.